there's been a lot of conversation taking place in regards to what President Donald Trump is doing in Washington with federalizing the police. Now, of course, a lot of that conversation is, oh my God, it's racist. They're targeting black people and this, that, and the other. Well, duh, of course they are. But last week, I talked about something the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said in regards to warning Trump. And I just want to give you a reminder of what that was. He said, you can come, bring your army, but if you slaughter my little young brothers, watch what God will do for you, Mr. Trump, and for the country that you said you want to make great again. That's not going to happen, Mr. Trump. America will never be made great again. But there was another warning, and that warning was for us as black people to get our acts together. Now, I want to go to 2007 before we go back to 2017, and this is what the minister said then.
On any given Saturday night in cities across this nation, it's we killing each other. You make it easy for racist police to kill you because you are busy killing yourself. But if you stopped and became a community that respects the life of each other and will protect the life of each other and will protect your women and your girls.
So as you heard him say, on any given Saturday night, we are doing things that we should not be doing, right? Now, he made the call to black men to protect the women and the girls. Now, fast forward to 2017 Savior's Day address, and he said this.
Let me tell you something. My brothers are in bad shape. And I have warned all of you. I told you that the army was coming. I told you to get your act together and clean up your act because they're coming with a mind to slaughter us. Have I said it? Not just for a year, but for 3 decades. I have been warning you about the government of America planning a war not only with a Muslim overseas, but with black people and the Nation of Islam in America. Have I not done that?
So he basically said, did I not warn you? Were you not told that this was going to take place? Now, before that, he was talking about when Trump was in office in 2016, he warned Mayor Rahm Emanuel at the time to clean it up. Clean up the city and the crime and all of that. And again, here we are in 2025, and Trump said, oh, y'all thought I was playing, huh? Well, here I am. But forget all of that. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had warned us, and we as a collective, right, decided not to listen. We were told to get our communities intact by doing something about the crime and the waywardness that goes on. Regardless of what the government is doing, we still have to be accountable for the things that we do to each other. As he said, we take each other's lives and don't blink an eye. But when the white man says, oh, I'm going to do A, B, C, and D, then we want to be up in arms. But we should be up in arms about the things that go on in our community that we just, shrug it off. Now, I know it's not all of us that do that, but it's enough of us to where Trump, even though, he owns some extra stuff, but to where he and his cronies feel like, oh, well, I got to go in there and do something. Listen, that was already part of the plan. But see, there was stuff that we were supposed to be doing per that of the message of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And again, here we are. So there are things that we could do even now, right? For one, get your kids out the streets. Most times when crime is being committed by children, it's because their parents don't even know where they are, don't even care where they are, running the streets all times of day and night without having to check in or any of that. And right now with all these cell phones and stuff, there's no excuse not to know what your children are doing or where they are. Problem is, you don't care. Now, I know that sounds kind of harsh, but it's just the truth. So yes, Trump is sending his army per se to deal with Black America. Now, he hasn't said Black America out of his mouth, but he don't need to say that, because we know what he's trying to do. And listen, there's nothing we can do about the wickedness of the government. As the minister said, God is going to take care of that. But again, that does not absolve us of our duties to each other. And also, before I leave, we have been told by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that we must accept our own, be ourselves, and do for self, right? Now, if we had been doing those things way back then, we might not be here. But we're here. But guess what? It's never too late.
I want to talk about history, since this is Black History Month, and why we should look at history and study the history that Malcolm X made. For there are lessons in his history that will fit us out with an armor that will make us able to go through the 1990s into the 21st century, or the 21st century, pardon me. Wise people study history, because if you don't know what was, you can't understand what is, and you're ill prepared for what is yet to come. So wise people study history because it is cyclical in nature. For history is the recorded deeds of men and women and nations as they struggle against impediments in our evolutionary march toward the absolute. Now, as students of history, we must understand that there is a reward for our research if we are wise enough to be attracted to this most attractive study. I remember in 1961, Malcolm X talked with the great brother who wrote the book Roots, Alex Haley. And Alex Haley, writing for Reader's Digest, interviewed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. And they said to Alex Haley that some of our original fathers who were brought into America were in fact Muslims. And that the slave masters who historically had come into contact with the Muslims as Islam spread over the known world from the 7th to the 11th centuries, and black men rose to power in Islam. And since these blacks who were Muslims were conquering armies of white folk, when the New World was established, they did not want any Islam taught to black people or to white people, even though the founding fathers were Muslim Shriners, meaning that they had 33 degrees of the circle of knowledge. You have to appreciate that context in order to understand the profound effect that Malcolm X had on the black struggle as a Muslim. All right? The slave masters understand that when your life is committed to God, and you fear God and God alone, and you worship God and God alone, you cannot enslave a person of that kind of mentality for any long period of time. Our fathers were not the buffoons and clowns that they would like us to believe. For we could not have taught them how to cook and to sew. We could not have built their fine homes if we were such clowns in Africa. They took wise people out of Africa. They took mathematicians such as were great builders. But they did not want that knowledge passed on to the young, because parents' greatest function is to pass on the history, oral or written, the language, the accomplishments to a young generation, so that young people will be inspired by knowing what their fathers did, so that they can build on what their fathers did and build greater than what their fathers did. But the slave masters did not want us with that kind of knowledge. They didn't want the slave children to hear the muezzin call out, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. God is great. God is great. So I couldn't hear nobody pray, because anybody that was found saying the name Allah would be killed, because they did not want that knowledge transmitted. They did not want our own traditional African religion transmitted. They did not want the culture of Africa, the drum of Africa, the music, the dance of Africa transmitted. And so we have grown up, even though we are an African people, we have grown up totally divorced from that culture, from those traditions, whether it is Islamic or whether it is the traditional religions of Africa. They wanted no touch of Africa in the children. And so couldn't hear nobody pray. Mama gone, father gone, a motherless child sees a hard time. So the slave masters reared our fathers by telling us lies. We found you in the jungle with bones in your nose. You never were nothing. You can't be nothing. You ought to be glad that we found you jungle bunnies and civilized you. This was done to our babies so that we would grow up having eyes but not being able to see, having ears but not being able to hear, having a tongue but not being able to speak, crippled mentally, but out of our genetic past, messages would keep coming up into the black psyche. And we would bring out of our genetic coding some of the mastery and the genius of our African history. And we would display that genius in this society, robbed of our inventions, robbed of our creative genius, robbed of the ability to read, to know, but yet our fathers knew. And so we didn't have any means of transmitting messages, so we sang them. White folk love to hear us sing. And so we sang for them. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming to carry me home. Well, I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Was a band of angels coming after who? Me. Coming to carry me home. See, we knew that this was not home. This was a strange land. And we were living among strange people, whose customs were strange, whose habits were strange, whose mind was strange. I'm laying a foundation for Malcolm, a foundation for Elijah, a foundation for Farrakhan, a foundation for Hannibal Afrique and us. We didn't just come into existence. We were brought into existence by an immutable law that whenever a people are deprived of that which God has ordained for us, out of our longing for that which we have been deprived of, that longing is passed on in the genes. And someday a woman gives birth to a child, and it is an ordinary looking child, but an extraordinary child. Nat Turner was a man like that. Denmark Vesey was a man like that. Gabriel Prosser was a man like that. Booker T was a man like that. W.E.B. Du Bois was a man like that. Frederick Douglass was a man like that. Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman were women like that. Ida B. Wells was a woman like that. We don't just pop up. We're not a toaster. We don't just pop out. People that don't compromise don't pop up. People that won't bow down don't pop up. What pops up is that which you put down, and it pops up. But these that are made out of that law, they can't compromise because they speak for the dead that cannot speak. They speak for the present generation that is voiceless. And they speak for the unborn generations yet to come. And when such ones appear, the slave masters are upset. Yes, you can understand that, can't you? A slave master wouldn't go through the trouble of making slaves and not be troubled by those that come out of our longing to alleviate the pain and the oppression of slavery. Well, you know and I know, my dear Christian brothers and sisters, that white folk didn't let us read the Bible. They used to keep the Bible locked. Did you know that? For over 300 years, they didn't let us read the Bible. So we didn't know what Jesus said, what Moses said. But in 1790, they saw that it wasn't incompatible for us to be slaves and Christians. Not from the teachings of Jesus, but from their warped idea of how to use religion to come into the very religious nature of black people and deceive us in the very nature of our love for God.
I mean, you're not going to even discuss it. I mean, see, but that's a slap in the face to those who have hope in the slave master. No, listen to me. See, you think he's different. You think that the children of the former slave master are different than the former slave master. And that's your problem. You refuse to accept the reality that the children are the same as their fathers. Just wiser now. Look. Many of us grow up in integrated circumstances.
Right now. Come on now.
And we have little white friends. Well, that's... No, I'm not being racist. I'm just making a statement of fact. We have white friends when we're growing up. If you grow up in some integrated environment, on the track team, on the basketball team, on the football team, white friends. In music school, but the young boy that was your friend in grade school and high school, the difference becomes when he grows up, power is open to him, but not to you. So now you got a degree, he got one, but you got to go down to where your friend that you went to school has his office, because his daddy is a big man and he was trying to wear dreads and all that kind of stuff, smoking reefer with you, snorting little cocaine with you, and you say that's my man. See, but they're like snakes that haven't grown venom yet. You understand pre-adolescence? You got a sperm, but it ain't working. You got an egg, but it can't produce. But when puberty comes, hair begin to grow up under the arms and other places. Troubled times. Because now what was dormant yesterday is alive and well today. So these young white children that are your friends, and maybe you'll be friends for life, but not under the same circumstances. See, your friend will grow up to be a white senator, or a white congressperson, or a white banker, or a white real estate broker, developer, and you're going to need a favor from your friend for old time's sake. Then you got to go to power, and maybe you can't deal effectively now, but this was your friend. I looked at Star the other night on CNN. No. Everybody gonna learn today. Because see, the foot of the master is not only kicking the little man. The foot of the master is crushing those who have traditionally been the tools of the master. Sister Star, she was so brilliant, so sweet, so factual, so clear. You could see in Larry King's face, he was troubled by her, because Barbara Walters is an icon, and Star never thought that Barbara would do something like that. But Barbara never thought that Star would do something like that. Can you imagine? She loses weight. So the fat, plump, beautiful woman is now thin, beautiful, intelligent. But all of a sudden, the ratings are not what they are. Star put that to rest. Very intelligently, very brilliantly. But You are hurting because you're hoping. You're hurting because you're hoping not in God, but in your former slave master and his children to open the door to freedom for you. And that is not going to happen, not in this life. Now, look, family, this is family. Look, dear family, look. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us a lesson, and in that lesson he called the black man the cream. The original man. The Asiatic black man, the owner, the maker, the cream of the planet Earth. See, you don't ask for nothing, just a chance. Hey, you don't have to do nothing special for me. Just get out my way. And all of a sudden, cream rise to the top. See, they want homogenized black people. You shake up the bottle, it still remains the same, with white folk on top, and you always serving them. That is not what God wants. Your time to serve your slave masters and their children is up, but you don't recognize that. So he's trying to show you, I don't want you. What you desire don't mean nothing to me.
Every Thursday night the vibe is set. Brother Leo and Sister Claudia, you won't forget. They're bringing truth, they're bringing light. Tune in, let them spark your mind tonight. The Image of Nation show. Oh, every Thursday let it flow. Oh, Brother Leo, Sister Claudia, in the glow. It's the place to be, you already know. They talk that talk, they walk the walk. Breaking it down, no need for small talk. Wisdom flying like the eagle's soar. You'll leave with more than you came here for. Open your heart, let your mind expand. Feel the rhythm, take a stand. The Image of Nation show. Oh, every Thursday let it flow. Oh, Brother Leo, Sister Claudia, in the glow. It's the place to be, you already know. Open your heart, let your mind expand. Feel the rhythm, take a stand. The Image of Nation show. Oh, every Thursday let it flow. Oh, Brother Leo, Sister Claudia, in the glow. It's the place to be, you already know. Soulful voices on the air, breaking barriers everywhere. Turn it up, don't let it fade. Thursday nights are tailor-made. everywhere. Turn it up, don't let it fade. Thursday nights are tailor-made.
Hey. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. I want to greet you, my dear, beloved brothers and sisters, in the greeting words of peace. We say it in the ancient tongue of Arabic, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Welcome, 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 dear beloved family, to another edition of the Image and Nation show. My name is Brother Leo Muhammad, and sitting alongside me is my beloved wife and dear friend, Sister Claudia Muhammad.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet you all in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, beloved.
How are you all? I pray to Allah
Praise be to Allah.
that you are all safe and well and enjoying the countless blessings from Almighty God Allah. Thank you again for tuning in. Let's see who have we got on. Johnny Mitchell, of course, always first. Praise be to Allah. Pray that you are well, Brother Johnny. Greetings to 8 Electronics. Greetings to Lenora Shepherd. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum also to Elder Charles. Assalamu alaikum to Jamila Burns. Assalamu alaikum to Brother Roy. Is that O? Roy O?
Roy O, yeah.
Yes. Hold on. You carry on. Where's my?
Okay, then we got our sister Jamila Burns.
Yes.
And Brother Erastus Lucambi. I think
Is that
that's how you
Erastus?
I believe so. Our brother is in St. Lucia.
Who did our painting at the back?
The painting behind us. That's our brother Erastus. Sister Brother Daniel E. Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, family. And also Tiffany Beecham. Assalamu alaikum. And Brother Michael L. is in the house. Wonderful, wonderful, dear family. Don't forget at this time to call a family member, a friend, a loved one. Let them know that Imagination is live and direct on YouTube and also on Zoom, dear family.
And just to say assalamu alaikum to our beautiful sister P.O.W.E.R.
Praise be to Allah. And don't forget, family, to like. It's really important. It really does affect these algorithms, you know, in terms of pushing out the show up and making it more visible and available to people who are browsing the internet. Like, share, and subscribe, dear family. Subscribe to the Imagination Show. Subscribe to Power London Study Group. Be a part of the family. And as we grow and develop, inshallah, we want to share more and more of the life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught and exemplified by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Part of our work, our job, our duty is to share these teachings because they literally do give life.
Absolutely.
And so that's the objective, that's the aim, that's the purpose of the Imagination Show, dear family. We want you to be able to use the faculty of imagination, image and nation. We want you to be able to use that dynamic and powerful faculty given to each and every human being by Almighty God Allah. We want you to be able to envision, see for yourself that which you desire to make manifest on the planet. And if you can see it, you can make it real. We can bring it into reality, dear beloved family. That's what the Imagination Show is all about.
Sorry, just to say greetings to Jerry Dredd and also assalamu alaikum to General Livertov, as usual, long-standing.
Absolutely. So, dear family, I really don't want to be long this evening, and so we're going to get right into our program at this time. Let me.
And the month has just gone.
Yeah.
Flying by. Time is absolutely flying
It's
by.
gone, beloved.
Yes.
It's gone, Sister Claudia. October is.
It's chilly.
Yeah, it's the temperature.
Yes.
The temperature has dropped dramatically in the so-called United Kingdom, and in fact, we've got a big, strong wind blowing. I can't remember what they're calling, what name they've given to this particular storm, but right now it is extremely windy outside. So, dear family, welcome to episode 205 of the Imagination Show. Today is Thursday, October the 23rd, 2025. And the title of our show this evening is World History is Black History. World History is Black History. You know, we have to be so careful in this life by following the narrative of somebody who does not have our best interest at heart.
That's right.
Because if you're not careful, you see, they can have us believing that really all we need or all we deserve is 1 month to really recognize our history, to really appreciate that which has gone before, that which without which we could not be. And, you know, you can have a month to reflect on that. You can have a month to think about that. Now, for some of us, you know, we think, wow, we got a whole month. When in reality, dear family, we are being highly, highly disrespected. You see, when you understand who we are,
that's right,
and the fact that Black history is every single day.
What a cheat.
I mean, just think about it.
Disrespectful.
And as we say, as the title says, world history is Black history. Without Black history, there's no world history.
There's no history.
You know, and it's just really, really important to understand how language can expand one's horizon, one's reality, or how language can diminish and curtail one's growth and development. And that it's not an accident when you find that we have these very limited parameters of language with which to work with and live our lives when it comes to a Black History Month. And so that's what we want to briefly deal with this evening, dear family, because the element of discernment, being able to really discern, being able to find nuance in things, different shades of meanings and understandings, really, really important in this life, that we never ever just take, you know, the first word that we hear for granted, that we don't just take things that people say and repeat them without first analyzing what exactly what we're hearing means and whether or not it's worth repeating, whether or not we should repeat it, because words are very, very powerful. And even before the word is uttered, the thought process, we literally are what we think. Okay, so the scripture says it like this: as a man thinketh, or you can say as a woman thinketh, so is he, so is she. You see, based on our thinking, and then obviously from the thought process comes the words. And then from the words, often we get actions. If the word has been considered and if the word has been reasoned with. You see, if the word is not considered and reasoned with, and there's just action after the thought, that oftentimes that's what you might call mindless, mindless action. And so, dear family, in this month of October, so-called Black History Month here in the United Kingdom, it is important that we focus and reflect on the true meaning of what we are being asked to celebrate and participate in, questioning how it benefits us or limits our ability to grow and develop into the mighty, resurrected people of God that we were born to be. That's who we were born to be, dear family. A mighty and resurrected people of God. Why resurrected? Because, man, we were laid low.
That's right.
Starting in around 1555, when this wicked demon called John Hawkins sailed on a ship named Jesus from Britain, from England, from the so-called United Kingdom, with evil intentions to take Black people out of Africa and enslave us and destroy us in the journey through the Middle Passage, the Atlantic Ocean, taking us into the so-called Americas, into the so-called Caribbean, bringing us right here in ports like Liverpool and other places up and down this country to be enslaved and to be destroyed as a human reality. That's what happened to us, man. And I'm telling you, family, you know, when we were dealing with 9/11, I made a statement that those so-called Twin Towers that came down on 9/11, 2001, they were not the original Twin Towers. The original Twin Towers were the Black man and the Black woman, and they came down in 1555, destroyed as a human reality, destroyed as a sovereign people, destroyed as the people of God by these who took us on a westerly course in the holds of ships, you see. And so we have to, dear brothers and sisters, be cognizant of this history if we are going to be that mighty, resurrected people of God that we were born to be. We must reject all the misinformation, propaganda, and in many cases, the guesswork that's been palmed off to us as Black history. So much of it, dear brothers and sisters, it's just conjecture. It's not really anything that we should be making claim to, especially when the so-called history, oftentimes, it's just about our demise, our enslavement, our subjugation under Western hegemony. That's not anything to celebrate, dear brothers and sisters. And so, you know, I use this picture, by the way, because I made this headdress, and it represents the lion. It represents the ancient kingship of the Black man. It represents royalty. It represents how we used to be. And I'm wearing a modern suit that, you know, people wear in the modern era. I'm wearing the bow tie, which is the highest expression of a dress code that the European uses when he's going to a special occasion. There's a reason why, many reasons, but there's a reason why we dress like this as male members of the Nation of Islam. Because we're sending a message to the so-called elites, to those, the powers that be, that we're not your inferior. We are on the same level, if not at a higher level of understanding than you and intelligence than you, because our God is the supreme being, the most intelligent being in the universal order. And so we wear the suit and we wear the bow tie for that reason, to send a message to those who think that they are superior. No, you're not superior to us. You're dealing with the original man. You're dealing with the first man to put clothes on, the man who taught you how to dress. You know, brothers and sisters, I'm going through this because I know many of us have begun to believe the hype. You remember what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was just saying a few minutes ago, how they taught us that they found us as jungle bunnies, swinging through trees, you see, with a bone in our nose and contributing nothing to history. See, this is a damnable, diabolical lie. They took, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, highly cultivated, highly intelligent people out of Africa, man, to build their societies, to build their world under subjugation, under tyranny. This is the reality of how the West rose and Africa fell and the world of the original man and woman was destroyed. And so, dear family, there's a scripture that says there is a lion asleep in Judah who will awaken. On my right hand, I'm wearing a ring that depicts the head of a lion. Everything was symbolic in the picture that we created here, you see. On the top of the crown at the front, again, a lion, supine, laying down, looking out, head up. On my left wrist, I'm wearing a watch because it's about the time, dear family. Just breaking down what we were trying to convey. And this is in the early 90s that we took this picture. And so, you know, we just want our people to appreciate that Black history is more than what we've been told of late, more than what we are given in these months. And we have to expand our minds now and really go back to the origin of who we are. Who are we? Who is the original man? As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan again was breaking down a few minutes ago. We're taught by the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that the original man is the original Black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. That's who we are. That's our true identity. The original man is the Asiatic Black man. Why Asiatic? Because the original name for the planet Earth is Asia. So that's the Black man from Asia, or what we call today Earth, the planet Earth. The original man is the Asiatic Black man, the maker, the owner, maker and owner. That's who we are, family. Everything that you see, man, we made it. It came from us. We made it happen. The owner. We got to take back ownership. In the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we're taught to accept your own and be yourself. We got to take ownership, man. We can't continue to act like we are interlopers or squatters in our own home, in our own place, on our own planet. This is the problem today with many of us as Black people. We have adopted a inferior posture. And so we end up perpetuating the fake and the false image that has been created of us, the stereotypes that have been perpetuated about us, instead of attempting to break out of that and show ourselves to be who we really are. Did you want to say something, Sister Claudia?
We come from the book, Fall of America by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, chapter 12, Deceivers and the Deceived. We, the whole nation of the lost found members of the Black nation in America, must remember that for the past 400 years, we have been reared by the enemies of our fathers. According to their own history writing, bringing us from our native land and people into a Western hemisphere was not for the purpose of making themselves friendly people to us and our nation, but to deceive us as being that which they actually were not, a friend and advisor to us, while at the same time depriving us of truth, justice, and equality, even now, after 400 years of servitude slavery. We must remember that the deceiver actually has deceived us. The coming of God in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever, is to make manifest this arch deceiver's work against us and to acquaint us with the nature of the arch deceiver. That deceit is part of his very nature. He, Allah, comes to give us the knowledge of the God of evil, who had freedom for the past 6,000 years to deceive not only you and me, but also the entire nations of the earth.
Wow.
This is the greatest salvation that God, Allah, could bring to you and me, to know the source of our trouble and its cause. The power of the manifester is to remove this cause, which has affected the Black nation for 6,000 years.
Wow. That's very powerful, Sister Claudia. I wonder if anybody is listening.
Yes, they are.
You see, because it's so important, because again, you know, please appreciate this. It's not an accident that all of these powerful nations invoke God. You know, we're probably the only ones who really are the people of God, who go around these days in the modern era talking nonsense about disbelief. Oh, I don't believe in no God. We're the only ones. You see, Trump had to put his hand on a Bible. And however fake he is, they have to go through that ritual in order to fool the masses of the people on the planet that they're coming from a righteous place. They have to use the name of God. King Charles, so-called, he has to put his hand on the Bible to become so-called king. See, because this is calling on the name of God in order again to give credence or to give legitimacy to that crown, to that throne, to that seat, to that power. Man, when the genuine people of God start to reject God and don't understand God, while everybody else uses God as a shield for their dirty practices, and then we wonder why we suffer so much, because we've been made into a laughingstock. We've been made fools by rejecting our very nature. It's not about religion, family. We ain't into no religion, man. We ain't into no fake religion that Christians practice on a Sunday, that Jews practice on a Saturday, so-called Sabbath, that Muslims practice on a Friday at Jummah prayer, but then for the rest of the week, it's filth and debauchery and madness and mayhem by all three of the so-called monotheistic religions. So we're not into no fake or false religion. We're into a way of life called Islam, or you can say peace in English. Peace. See? And submission to the will of God. I hope you get it, dear brothers and sisters, because you know we're in a time frame now when more and more that which is obscure, that which is hidden, it's coming into light. And that means both the good and the evil. And everything is going to be made plain. Everything is going to be made manifest, where nobody's going to have an excuse. Neither the wicked or the righteous will have an excuse going forward in this day and time. Brothers and sisters, the following quote is taken from an article written by Brother Jabril Muhammad, published in the Final Call newspaper on December the 27th, 2016. It says, the words below, this is written by Brother Jabril, the words below were written and sent to all students in the ministry of Islam in the wilderness of North America by Elijah Muhammad, servant of Allah, many years ago. These are the words that he sent to all of the student ministers in the nation of Islam under his leadership. He says, quote, history is above all our studies. the most attractive and best qualified to reward our research, as it develops the springs and motives of human actions and displays the consequences of circumstances which operates most powerfully. I mean, that's such a big, big, big statement. I'm going to read it again.
Yes.
History is above all our studies. It's above all our studies, above all our studies, the most attractive and best qualified to reward our research, as it develops the springs and motives of human actions. See, it's history, dear family, that really should drive us into action based on what we can see and based on what we historically, man, that's the springs and motives of human action. Because we've done it before, we know we can do it, we know how great we are, how powerful, how wonderful we are, how righteous we are, how peaceful we are. That should be a tremendous motivation for action today and action tomorrow. And it goes on, and it displays the consequences of circumstances. So again, we can learn from history based on what we see as consequences of particular circumstances historically, because cause and effect is real. So we can study, through the study of history, we learn about consequences of circumstances which operates most powerfully. See, again, that word powerfully, dear family, it's really telling you that in all of this, because God said, let us make man and let us give him dominion and power. See, if you see black men, black women, black people, but in particular the black man, powerless today, that's a huge red flag. That tells you that something is very, very wrong. You see, because you can clearly see that the white man's got power. You can clearly see that the Chinese man has got power. You can clearly see that the so-called Asian man, what we call South Asian, the Indians and the Pakistanis, etc. You can see that other men have and are able to display power. Be that power good or bad, it's irrelevant. Where's the black man's power? Where's the black man's display of power? Because this is something that has been given by Almighty God Allah to every human being. He didn't make any human being powerless. And so when you witness this lack of manifestation of power today, and this reluctance even by black men to this, and we're not talking about a black man punching a man in the face in the street or beating up his girlfriend or his wife. That's not power. That's cowardice. That's foolishness. That's maybe some egotistical expression of an individual against another individual. We're not talking about that, man. We're talking about power to move the world. We're talking about power to influence the world. We're talking about power to be in charge of your own sovereign state, your own government, your own people. See, not to be like a puppet who moves at the whim or the beck and call of other powers who don't have your best interest or your nation's interest or your people's interest at heart. This is what we're talking about here, dear brothers and sisters, because if we just think that, every year Black History Month comes around and some of us get a little bit excited and do a couple of events or attend something, and we think that somehow fulfills some type of obligation that we have. Well, no, we're not remotely close to what we're supposed to be doing, not in a month, but throughout the period of the 12 months of the year. You see, the 24-hour, 7-day-a-week cycle that we live by. That's how we should be. That's when we should be exercising, this understanding of history, not reserved to a month. Dear family, history is above all. I'm really highlighting again what we just read in the previous slide, but now we're going to really try to go a little bit deeper in breaking it down. History is above all our studies. Let's stop right there. History is above all our studies. That's what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote, man. That's what he said. History is above all our studies. So those of you who can't stand history, hate to go back, oh man, that's so long ago, why can't we just all move forward? See, that's a foolish person talking right there. You see, you go all around all of these European capitals, you go in America and wherever you go on the planet and you see into different people's nations, you look at their statues, man.
That's right.
Look at their edifices. Look at the old buildings that they preserve and keep intact. Why? Because history is very, very important. Very important. We're the only ones who think, oh man, we can destroy our history and somehow we can start today and we can unite with a people who have an intact history and we don't have no history, and somehow they're going to respect us as an equal. It ain't going to happen, man. You better have some history that you can bring to the table to show who you are, who your people are, who your God is. And so history is above all our studies. This is not a lightweight statement, but it is designed to counter the fact of the scripture found in the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6, in which it says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. What knowledge? The knowledge of self, the knowledge of history, dear family. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. See? And that's why we're in deep trouble, because we don't know our history. And therefore, we do not know ourselves. This is compounded by the fact that today, most of our history lessons are taught by our former slave masters and their children.
That's right. That's why in the schools, isn't it, growing up, what history was we taught? It was so boring.
Nothing
It had nothing to do.
1066.
Yeah, that's all I remember.
The Battle of Waterloo, Battle of Hastings, yeah.
That's all I remember. So that's why it shows how important the history
Absolutely,
is.
absolutely. See, that history that we've been taught represents his story,
That's right.
not our story.
That's right.
His story. Who's his? That's the one who's been teaching us, man. And that, some of us are so happy in his schools and in his universities, and we think that we're getting an education that's actually going to empower. It's not going to empower us, beloved.
That's right.
It will never, that educational process. How did the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say it? The minister said, he who controls the circumference of your learning controls the diameter of your action. Or I think I've said it the wrong way around. He who controls the diameter of your learning controls the circumference of your actions. Let's get it right. He who controls the diameter is like a through line. Yeah, the diameter of your learning controls the circumference, how large, how big you are able to travel in this world and in this life. How far you go depends on your so-called education.
That's right.
And the education that Sister Claudia just mentioned, that she said was so boring, teaching us history that's got nothing to do with us per se, but the Battle of Hastings in 1066 and Shakespeare and this and that and some Latin lessons and so on and so forth, not our curricula,
That's right.
but their curricula, then that limits our ability to be ourselves, because the root of education comes from a Latin root, which means to educe or to draw out, meaning that everything that we need is already inside. God has already put it inside us. That's why it's called intelligence, because it's internal. See, it's inside already. And the real meaning of education, to educe or to draw out, is to draw out what has already been deposited in the human being. But that's not what's happening. That's why we accept your own and be yourself. God has made you a unique person, a unique individual, a unique life with beautiful qualities and tendencies. But it has to be cultivated and brought out now so that you can make manifest who you and I really are. That's not what's happening in the educational system of this world.
That's right.
Go
That's
ahead.
why in relationships, you want to know the history.
You got to know the history.
Well, you need to know, what are you getting yourself into when you're purchasing a car? You're not going to buy a car unless you know the history of that
car.
Yeah, what's happened to it? Has it been in an accident?
Come on. Has it been written off?
That's right. Or when you're going and meeting a new person, what's their history? Have they got
What's the mileage?
Yeah.
What's the mileage on this new person?
Exactly. Have they got mental issues? You need to know.
Is the father in prison a mass murderer? You know, it do you well to actually know some of this history, beloved.
That's right.
So that you can make an informed decision about whether or not you proceed with this person or with this car or with this house, having had a survey done, and you can now see that there are cracks in the walls, or there's some subsidence in the earth beneath the house. You need to know these things. You need to know this history if you're going to make a good choice, if you're going to make a sound choice that's going to be to your benefit. Dear family, I wish we really could appreciate just how magnificent a teaching we've been given by Almighty God, Allah. This is a teaching from God, man.
That's right.
That's why nobody in this world has ever been able to challenge and defeat the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. It stands true at any limit of time, and it can be proved at any limit of time. Dear brothers and sisters, let us continue. I hope you are all well, dear family. You know, we're in that season now where the weather is changing from, you know, being a little bit warm now to cold. And so people start getting these so-called colds and flus. I see they're pushing once again, people getting jabbed and things of this nature. Long before the so-called the pandemic came, they were giving people flu jabs, the elderly. You know, I warn you in the name of Allah to be just very careful. Be very, very careful, dear brothers and sisters, of these supposedly, you know, humanitarian gestures towards your health, that somebody wants to help you, to protect you against viruses, and they want to inject something into you. Be very, very careful. Be very, very cautious. You know, I was offered to go many years ago to the Congo, and part of the deal was that I had to have a vaccination against yellow fever and some other stuff. Well, suffice to say, Congo hasn't seen me yet, and Congo will never see me, dear family, if part of the criterion is that I've got to have somebody stick a needle in my arm in order to protect me from a natural environment created by Almighty God Allah, and I'm a natural man. No, dear family. Whatever these things are that are ill affecting our people, be they AIDS or Ebola. All of these things, dear family, were manufactured in laboratories and have been let loose for the decimation and the destruction of populations, in particular among Black and brown people found on the continent of Africa and other parts of Asia. This is real. This is the world in which we live, and it's very, very wicked. And you better have your eyes wide open to that fact. The most attractive and best qualified to reward our research. We're still breaking down the statement made by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. History is most attractive and best qualified to reward our research. Look at that word most. It means greatest in amount, in amount, quantity or degree. You know, it's just again, I love language because these are things that people often just read, but really don't really appreciate the gravity, the enormity of what is actually being said, you see, about history and why we can't let so-called Black History Month go past without really breaking it down in its constituent parts in order for us to really understand that we can't get stuck on a Black History Month. You see, history is most, meaning the greatest in amount, quantity, or degree. It's attractive, meaning that it's pleasing or appealing to the senses. It's magnetic. Sister Claudia said it was boring. Why? Because that's by design. The kind of history and the way in which they teach history is designed to repel you, making it so boring and some very,
was this a killer?
It's a decrepit subject in the manner in which it's presented, but it's not meant to be like that. It's actually meant to be the complete opposite when it's taught correctly, when you can see yourself in the picture, when it actually, when you can actually relate to it and it relates to you. Exactly. It's pleasing or appealing to the senses. It's magnetic, man. In other words, it draws you. It's attractive. Look at the word. It's best. See, the most attractive and best. Best means of the most excellent or desirable type or quality to the highest degree again. That's what best means. Qualified. Qualified to reward our research. Qualified means officially recognized as being trained to perform a particular job or certified. See, that's authentic. When something is qualified, it means that there is a recognition of your efforts. It means that now, history is not just a word that you're using. It means that you've delved into it to a depth, to a level whereby now you qualify yourself to be able to talk about, or to be able to, in fact, not just recognize history or talk about history, but make history. Because history is being made right now as this show goes out. That's what Black history is all about. And, I know that we've talked about this in another show quite a while ago now, and we're going to have to revisit it at some stage. But understand this, beloved. See, because even what we believe or understand, how we understand history to unfold, is that something happens today, and then tomorrow somebody writes it down, records it, and then in the future people look back at that, and that's what's called history. Well, according to the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the original man, the original people, Black people, we never did history in that manner. The way in which we did history is that we looked into the future.
Mhm.
And we saw what was going to happen. And then we wrote that down. And then we walked into that history fulfilling prophecy. Oh man, I want you to hear me. We wrote our history in advance and then fulfilled what was written. Isn't that awesome? And if you understand, you know, when you say, oh, I'm going to get married, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, inshallah, in the future. And then what do? You walk into
That's
it,
right.
you make it happen.
Mhm.
Well, this is the proper way to understand history. It's not the way in which we've been schooled in history. You see, when you understand that you can make history, history becomes a very exciting prospect. I hope you get it, dear family. Reward. You can find that in the statement. The most attractive and best qualified to reward our research. What is reward? A thing given in recognition of service, effort, or achievement. See, family, just to be a genuine and real historian, to actually know history, to actually be a part of and to be living or making history, man, there's a reward in that. You don't go away empty-handed when you know history, when you understand history, when you are making history, fulfilling history, man, there's a huge reward for such persons who are involved in that type of history. I almost didn't include this, but I just thought because it says reward our research. So I put in, I looked at the word our as well, and it means of or relating to us or ourselves or ourself. Okay, that's us. That's our. It's just really important, again, that we see ourselves in the picture, that, you know, if history is not about you and me, then what is it about? If you can't relate, if you can't see yourself in the picture, if we can't see ourselves in the picture playing a positive and constructive role, then what is the purpose of such history? If that history is showing us in a negative light, showing us as being downtrodden, showing us as inferior, showing us as victims, that's not a good history, dear family. That's not a real history. And so and then the final word, research. Research, the most attractive and best qualified to reward our research. The research, the meaning of research is the systematic investigation into and study of past materials and sources to establish facts and reach true conclusions. That's what research is all about. Read, to go back and search, to find the truth, man. Because the truth has been buried, the truth has been obscured, the truth has been twisted to such a degree that you can't take anything that you've been given for granted. You know, it's unfortunate, but then when the truth of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad emerged in the 1930s, and he began teaching, and black people began standing up and raising up and being resurrected and doing for self, all of a sudden, a lot of us had questions. Oh, what's this? Where did that? What's your qualifications? Where did it come from? Oh, who authorized? Stop it. You never questioned the slave master and his children. You never asked him where he got his authority to do what he was doing, or stories that he was telling. You never doubted, but we want to doubt and question what God has revealed to counter the lies and the deceptions and the evil that has been perpetrated on this planet. I say, dear family, get your priorities right, man. Go back and question the first one. Go back and question the one who has put the planet in this horrible, terrible condition that it's in. See, don't even look at the Nation of Islam. You know, look at Christianity that they claim to be 2,000 years old. Look at Islam that they claim, some claim to be 1,400 years old. Look at Judaism that some claim to be some 4,000 years old if you're coming from the time of Musa or Moses. The Nation of Islam is just around 100 years old. So you can't put that stuff on us and blame us. Oh, we're racist. Stop it. When we were all born, including when Master Farad Muhammad was born in 1877, racism had absolutely dominated this planet. So stop it. You can't blame racism on us. You see, we were born into that. We were born into sin and shaped in iniquity. And so I put these images up, brothers and sisters, because I'm trying to show you how, in a very simple way, when we look at, say, modern or contemporary history, how dangerous it is if we don't have the wherewithal to research and to really understand what it is that we're being given, what it is that we're being taught. Here is a picture. The picture on the top is of the great, wonderful actress and entertainer Lena Horne, you know, who really was a very, very powerful Black woman. But look at the way she's been advertised in the picture beneath. If you're not careful, you believe that Lena Horne was a white woman because she's not, even though it says the bronze Venus.
Right, she doesn't look it.
Does she look bronze to you? No, she looks like a Caucasian woman with red, rosy cheeks. You know, that's how they were presenting our sister, Lena Horne, when in reality, she may have been a light-skinned Black woman, but she was a Black woman. But this image doesn't make her to look like a Black woman. So then when you see, you know, Cleopatra, the Black queen, being depicted by Elizabeth Taylor, when you see Moses being depicted by Charlton Heston, Moses, who was a jet black man, and we can go on. I said jet black. I didn't say light-skinned Arab-looking man. Moses, black man. See? But if we're not careful, then this is how history is distorted. This is recent, you know, modern history. Lena Horne, she was alive not that long ago, but they're already, if you're not careful, changing the way in which she really looked. And that's why when you hear that Beethoven, the great composer, was in fact a Black man, and they referred to him as the Moor. Moor meaning black, blackamoor. You see, but today you say that to most people, man, you're just making up stuff, you know, because you believe that Beethoven was a white man. And many of the great classical musicians of the past, when you do your research, you will discover Black. See? And, you know, we could go on forever, dear family. Hope everybody is good. Now, the following is taken from the Final Call newspaper, dated February 2009. According to the teachings, to me, of man's histories, this is the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad speaking in the Final Call newspaper. According to the teachings to me of man's histories by Allah God, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, praise is due to him forever, the great Mahdi and the Messiah that the world has been expecting to come from the last 2,000 years, has come and is going about his work as has been predicted that he would do. This is the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad breaking down what he has been taught by Master Farad Muhammad, Allah God in person. This is the real Black history that our people need to know. This is what our people need to know, family. And as long as we don't know this, nothing that we do know is going to be sufficient to lift us out of this pit, out of this quagmire that we as a people globally find ourselves in. It is necessary, it is critically important that we learn this history about ourselves. Imagine the great Mahdi and the Messiah that the world has been expecting. See, the world of religious people, the world of spiritual people, they're expecting the coming of a man. See? And what we are taught in the Nation of Islam is that that man has come, not several men, one man going under many titles, having many different names. See? But we believe that that man has come and that that man is Master Farad Muhammad, and that that man raised up this man, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And what we are being given now, what we've been taught now, is the solution to the problems that have been inflicted on this world, inflicted on us as a people, inflicted on humanity as a whole. And we are being given answers and we are being given solutions. And much of it, dear family, pertains to history. And so I hope you can really understand. And this article from February 2009 continues. We're going to continue reading more of what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had to say as it relates to history. He taught me, this is the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad speaking, he taught me for 3 years, night and day, on the histories of the two people, black and white. See, when we talk about white people, we're not talking from guesswork or conjecture. We're talking from what we know. See, and what we know primarily is not just based on our personal experiences of them, which is very important, what we've witnessed of them, but what we know is what God has revealed. See, there's nothing more powerful than that. See, what God says about origin, about what God says about who they are, who we are. That's the basis on which we are operating, dear family, because we're believers in God, see, and the power of God and the nature of God. God is not a liar, you know, and where people are perplexed over certain realities of this particular race that we're talking about, when you understand what God reveals, then everything then makes sense. But if you don't know what God has revealed about this race and their behavior, their unlike behavior, then you would be left perplexed, confused, disillusioned, disappointed, because everything that you try and all of the solutions that you come up with, nothing's going to work because you don't know what you're dealing with. But God is showing us who and what we're dealing with. And when you understand that, when you know that, then all of a sudden you understand what the solution is, what the solutions are. He taught me for 3 years, night and day, on the histories of the two people, black and white. What he taught me verifies the teachings of the Bible and Holy Quran, if rightly understood. If these books are rightly understood, then, you know, what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has been taught is then verified and corroborated in fact. Of the two people, black and white. He said that there was no birth record of the black man, and therefore none can say how old the black nation is. We have no birth record. We're the ancient of days. There's nobody that you can go to that can tell you, oh yeah, black people, they're this old. Because whenever time began, that's when we began. And then the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad continues. He says, as far back as he said a record has been kept, it dates 76 trillion years. Let's continue over the page. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad continues in the final court article. It dates 76 trillion years. These years, 76 trillion, were divided into periods of 6 trillion years beyond 66 trillion years, which would make the said figure 76 now be 78 instead of 76 trillion. So we've got history going back 78 trillion years. I didn't say billion. He didn't say billion. He didn't say million. Trillion years. That's how ancient black people are, dear family. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad continues, I will not go into the finer details here. I hope to go into the details and an analysis of our Lord's Master Farad Muhammad's teachings to me in a book entitled Black and White. I don't know if the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad ever wrote that book, but I know that it's not been published at this present time, dear family, because it's a book that's needed. It's an understanding that's needed, this relationship between black and white, because far too many people are absolutely confused about this reality, and especially as it pertains to the history of the two people and our relationship. Where did they come from? Where did we come from? Who are we? Who are they? And one of the purposes of Satan's work is to make those questions as difficult and as confused to answer as possible. That's part of his mode of operation, modus operandi. You see, look at this beautiful picture with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and our dear departed brother, Dr. Martin Luther King. It was after this particular meeting with Dr. Martin Luther King that Dr. King began speaking and saying things of this nature. I've been to the mountaintop. I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but we will get there. See, after a conversation with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, this man became much more radical, much more forceful, much more clear in his pronouncements about the liberation theology that black people needed to hear. And he started to talk about the Vietnam War and so on and so forth. And the enemy became terrified and decided that they had to eliminate this beautiful human being called Dr. Martin Luther King. Dear family, continuing in the article, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in the same article, he said, the black man in America is not, listen to this, the black man in America is not an example of the original black man, for he has been used by slave masters for 4 centuries in what we call experimentation. Through the experimentation by the wicked slave masters who were made without love or mercy for black people. They were made without love or mercy for black people. Where you are looking for that love and that mercy in them, you are looking in vain. They don't have it in them. Dear family, they have the black man in America before the world as a wrecked, robbed, and spoiled human being without knowledge of himself or anyone else. This is the words of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Okay? Through the experimentation by the wicked slave masters who were made without love or mercy for black people, they have the black man in America before the world as a wrecked, robbed, and spoiled human being without knowledge of himself or anyone else. And I wrote down here, this has been done to us all over the world. When you see our youth shooting, stabbing, killing one another, when you see and hear the level of abusive language and behavior one toward the other, black people on black people, to the point where the enemy can coin a phrase, black on black crime. Man, it's very sad if we don't recognize that we have to sort this out. We have to sort ourselves out. We have to heed the call from God through his servants, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Look at this beautiful picture with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and one of his students at that time, Muhammad Ali. You know, this man did such a magnificent job, dear family, raising black people, man, to a level that they became universally recognized. Wherever Muhammad Ali went, that man was universally loved and recognized based on the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Dear family, Black History Month is celebrated in February in the United States, having been started, according to one version of history, as Negro History Week by Carter G. Woodson in 1926. Negro History Week. This is how it began. Black History Month is celebrated in October in the United Kingdom, having been started according to a version of Black British history by a Ghanaian analyst and activist called Akyaba Ade-Sibo. Akyaba Ade-Sibo in the year 1987. Okay, this is when Black History Month got started here. Look how relatively recent all of this stuff is, man. 1926 in America, 1987 here. And again, you know, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that the white man, the Caucasian here in Britain, in England, is 100% devil, while he taught that that one in North America is 99% devil. I want you to think about this, man. See, because I know you think like, you know, most people, the great America, the great Satan, whatever. And here you got little Britain who, you know, is just like a little poodle sitting on the lap of America. Well, I beg to differ. I say that this is the brain of the beast, while America is the belly of the beast. America is the overgrown daughter from the British or English mother. See, this is the mother country. This is, in America, they don't speak American, they speak English. Very, very important, dear family, that we understand this relationship. And because this is the headquarters, the office, it took that much longer for even a recognition of a month, just a month, to come to these shores, 1987, dear family. And so really appreciate this evolution from our enslavement and total and utter destruction as a Black family to now being given 1 month in 1926 and 1 month in 1987, that we can appreciate such a thing as Black history. Did you have something?
Yeah, I'm just going to come from Message to the Black Man by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I thought it was interesting. The title is Understand Self. There are some efforts to celebrate a so-called Negro History Week, and some of my people will participate. The planning of that week to teach the slave a knowledge of his past is not complete, sufficient, or comprehensive enough to enable my people to learn the true knowledge of themselves. It is important that my people learn the true knowledge of self, as it means their salvation.
Wow. Did you hear that, family? What page is that in Message to the Black Man, dear sister? Page 34, Message to the Black Man. The heading? Understand self.
But the title of that is Original Man.
Original Man. The original man. See, we can't allow Black History Month to come and go, and for our babies to be indoctrinated into thinking that, you know, all these people have to do is show some Black athletics on the TV, a couple of Black movies, a couple of Black series, have a couple of parties and a couple of award ceremonies to recognize some Black people, quote unquote, who are, you know, currently in the media or in the news or whatever. And we think, wow, you know, we've arrived. No. Our history is world history.
That's right.
World history is Black history. Understand, dear family. Don't you keep using these terminologies such as minority to describe yourself. In the UK, they love to talk about the ethnic minorities. Ethnic coming from a term that means heathen or a non-believer, you know, or some pagan. Understand this. We're not heathens and we're not ethnic minorities. We are not a minority on the planet, dear family. Back in 1934, the Caucasian or the white man numbered 400 million on our planet. I want you to think about this. Back in 1934, he numbered 400 million people on our planet. In that same time frame, Black people, original people, numbered 4,400,000,000. Our numbers since that time, both white and Black, have not diminished. They've grown. When I say Black people, we have grown exponentially in number. See? So never ever refer to yourself as a minority, because again, it's the language of inferiority. We're not that. We are the majority on the planet. There are more Black and brown and yellow people on the planet than Caucasian white people. They are a very, very small minority on the planet. But just because they currently control a lot of mass media, they give the projection or the idea that they are superior in number. See? But they're really a very, very small minority, dear family. Both USA and UK celebrations of Black history missed the mark by a huge margin because both tend to come from a place of inferiority and a desire to catch up or equalize with white history and culture. That's the wrong motivation. Like we want to compete. There's no competition, dear family. Not fully. This is what we're not doing. We're not fully grasping or understanding that without Black history, there is no other history. And that without Black people, there is no other people. In fact, without us, there is literally nothing, because we are the mothers and fathers of everything that is seen, unseen, known, or unknown. That's who we are. We are it. The planet couldn't even survive without us. If they were somehow able, which they can't, and it's impossible, but if they were somehow able to get rid of all the Black people on the planet, that would be the end of them. They would not be able to survive. We are the actual saving grace of Caucasians. Even in terms of what you see Trump trying to do, throwing out the so-called illegal aliens and throwing out Black people and throwing out brown people or whatever, if they were ever to succeed, and even now they're suffering because of certain jobs that we do, that they think that they're above and they can't do or won't do. Same here in the UK. We're the ones who keep all of their corporate enterprises going and clean their offices and take care of their elderly and nurse them back to health and all the rest of the ancillary stuff that goes on to keep a society functioning. We're at the root of all of it. And if we were to leave, man, dear family, this Black man, Black woman, and child, I'm telling you, man, we got to put some new respect. When you see a Black man, a Black woman, and a Black child together, you are looking at the foundational stone of the universe, of humanity. That's what it's built on. This beautiful Black woman, this powerful Black man, and this baby, this child with so much potential to grow into a majestic growth, both physically and spiritually. And all we need, I think somebody said it on the tape that was playing earlier, all we need, I think it was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, all we need is for the interferer to get out of our way.
That's right.
See, if we didn't have fake and false barriers and obstacles placed before us as a people, man, you know, and I know you think modern technology, it's all come from the Caucasian. No, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Again, you got to go back into this recent history and look at the inventions that we take for granted today and understand that the vast majority of them came from the hearts and minds of Black men and women. And often other people put their name on it. Man, do we even realize just how much we've been robbed and spoiled? Dear family, we are coming close to our zenith at this time. Abu al-Hawl. Abu al-Hawl is the Arabic name for the great Sphinx of Giza in Egypt, which the enemy has mistranslated, deliberately mistranslated to mean father of terror. I mean, just look at this thing, man. Do you see anything terrifying about that? That looks beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Worn, damaged, but beautiful. The enemy has deliberately mistranslated to mean father of terror, when in fact, The true translation is the father of everything. The iconic and monumental statue is located on the Giza Plateau and is the massive reclining body of a lion with the head of a black man. In the land of Egypt, after untold thousands of years, it remains awe-inspiring, and it is known and accepted as a symbol of strength and protection, but not a symbol of fear or terror. The question you should ask yourself is, why would they be terrified of such an image, of such a symbol, of such an object left in the desert next to some pyramids? Because what this symbolizes and what this means on the body of a lion, if you remember the picture I showed you earlier on of me wearing the lion ring on my finger and the lion on my head and the headpiece that looked like the mane of a lion, modeled on this ancient symbol. They're terrified, family, terrified, because what it represents is that sleeping lion in Judah that the scripture talked about. And the scripture asked the question, who will awaken him? There's a lion asleep in Judah. Who will awaken him? See, that strikes terror in the heart of those who recognize the symbolic nature of the lion, being the king of the jungle, being the creature that most other creatures fear the most, and having the head of a black man. That speaks volumes. Because that's telling you that the ancient people who built the pyramids, who built the Sphinx, are black people. And this strikes terror because they never ever want to see that black man resurrected, re-erected into power to take back control and charge of this planet. You see? That's what the fear is all about. That's why you would call it the father of terror. But in reality, dear family, when you look at this sandstone, when you look at this, the blue sky, when you look, you don't see nothing terrifying unless you're a devil, unless you're a demon, unless you're satanic in your thinking, then of course it's the father of terror. But in reality, dear beloved brothers and sisters, it is the symbol of the father of everything. So, you know, this man, I think his name is George Santayana. George Santayana, he said, those who cannot learn from history are doomed to repeat it. I'm saying, dear family, that we got so many historical lessons.
That's right.
That we're supposed to learn from. And if we keep on going over and doing the same thing over and over again, then we only have ourselves to blame, and we can't point the finger at nobody else and, you know, try to absolve ourselves of blame when we are not learning from history.
That's right.
There are tremendous lessons for us to learn from what has gone before. And that we don't keep trying to do the same thing, as Einstein said, to keep on trying to do the same thing over and over and over again that never works. Repeating the same thing is a sign of insanity. When you expect a different outcome or a different result, like those of us who went to these schools and we were poisoned and treated like lepers and despised and rejected and subject to racism, and then we turn around and send our children to the same school and don't tell our children the truth, lie to our children, oh, go and get a good education, when we know that the school attempted to destroy us.
That's right.
Why would we put our children into that same system expecting a different outcome? That's insanity. And then finally, our great brother, the most honorable the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey said, a people without the knowledge of their past, history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Do you know, family, that your culture is Islam? I'm just going to tell you, because I know some of you will want to run away. Your culture is Islam, not some Arab religion or Pakistani religion, but the religion of peace. Your very nature is a Muslim. That's who you are.
That's right.
And as long as you are running away from yourself, man, Bob Marley put it so right. He said, you're running and you're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running, but you can't run away from yourself. Can't run away from yourself. Wow.
That's right.
Think about it, family. This has been Black history, but Black history is world history.
That's right.
And world history, dear family, is Black history. Thank you for lending me this time to be together. I pray that you really understood what we attempted to share with you this evening. May Allah bless you as I greet you, as I found you in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you, Brother Leo. There was
Praise be
a
to Allah.
question. Our sister
Mhm.
Tracy. She was asking
Tracy.
about her grandchildren.
About her grandchildren?
Yes,
Yeah.
teaching them.
About teaching them?
Yes.
Well, the best way to teach your grandchildren, dear beloved sister Tracy, is through your example. You've got to be a real role model for them. You've got to really teach them of the right and proper way to conduct themselves as children. Go ahead.
Yeah, so she says, Sister Claudia and Brother Leo, I'd like to introduce our teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to my grandchildren. Please bless my efforts. I'm taking them to Muhammad's Mosque. Number 12. That's the best.
Absolutely. That's the best thing
Best.
that you could ever do, my dear beloved sister. And if they have, which mosque is it? Number 12?
Yes.
If they have a school and you can enroll them in Muhammad's University of Islam, wow, man. You're giving those children a fighting chance, dear beloved
You're
sister.
saving them.
You know, because the school curriculum is not designed for our children. And Muhammad's University of Islam has a curriculum that is absolutely designed to attract the heart and the mind of those children. And the scripture says like this, that the job of Elijah is to turn the hearts of the children back to their father, and the heart of the father back to the children. The education is designed to bring us back together with our God, bring us back together as a family, bring us back together, the elders and the youth, bring us back together, man. Make us that cohesive whole that we're supposed to be as the original people of the planet Earth. And so, yeah, be the best example that you can be, dear sister, to the children. Let them see uprightness. Let them see moral rectitude. Let them see the best expression, the best language, you know, to the best of your ability. Train yourself and engage in the process of self-improvement. You know, if you send them, if you can get the children into that school, go to the meetings yourself. Go and learn, you know, yourself as much as you can, so that when they come home with their questions or whatever, you got answers for them, man. Let education once again become what it's supposed to be.
That's right.
You know, something really beautiful and fun, exciting and attractive to the young people, to the children.
We always say, you know, when we go through our trials or just every day, you just think, gosh, the teachings, they're just such
If it wasn't for the teachings, how would we cope?
I just don't understand how people cope in
How
life.
people function.
Yeah, without the teachings. It's just such a beautiful, life-changing, life-giving.
Yes.
It's just it's made for us by God Himself.
Absolutely.
So yeah, let us know, Sister Tracy, how you get on. And on that note, if you missed the 30th anniversary of the Million Man March and Holy Day of Atonement 2025, don't forget you can rewatch that on media.noi.org. Don't forget to subscribe to the Final Call newspaper, the only paper that is unbought and uncompromised. So get the digital edition if you cannot get the physical copy. Let's support our own and build a new world for ourselves. And don't forget, tune into the Final Call radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I just love listening to the Final Call radio. There's just so much food. We are well fed.
Yes, well fed.
Very well fed.
Well fed.
Yes. We can't.
We can never go spiritually hungry.
No.
Never.
Ever. No.
You know,
our well will never run dry.
Absolutely.
There's so much to learn.
Praise be to Allah.
But praise be to Allah. Thank you all so much for tuning in. May Allah God continue to guide, bless, and protect you and your families. Inshallah, we pray that Allah spares our life, blesses us to get through another week to meet next week, inshallah. Next week, Thursday, bring a friend, bring a loved one to come and join us. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.